Au revoir.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of FitPet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato and I am the host of the show. Today I am joined by my spouse, Lori.
Hello.
And we are going to do the first of, how many, Lori? 4?
I think 4.
Okay, the first of 4 episodes with the subject being puppies and anything that would relate to owning a puppy. Before we get started on the content for today, I just wanted to say thank you for your listening ear. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends if you're interested in what you are listening to. Both Laurie and I are Boston area dog handling pros. We work with clients one-on-one to help them build better relationships with their dogs, help solve behavioral problems. We do a lot of puppy classes, which is probably why Laurie wanted to talk about this today. And personally, I'm a dog walker, so that's where I spend the majority of my time. I really like my job. I like what I do. I know it's kind of a strange thing to be drawn to, but it suits me. So if you're new to the show, feel free to listen to the 100 episodes in our rear view. So last week with Renee was episode number 100.
No way.
Yep. And that includes everything that's published. All the episodes that are published equal 100. So they're all available for your listening pleasure if you are brand new and you would like to hear more about what we've done in the past. Today, for some reason, Spotify kicked on the episode that we did with Catherine where we talked about AKC competition way back in 2020. And that was like a really good episode. I listened to about 20 minutes of it and I was like, dang, this is really good. It flowed really nicely. Everybody had a lot of interesting things to say about Springfield back in 2020. Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was like a really, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times.
Yeah, I'm going to give that an 80-20 best of times, worst of times ratio for me. Now that I have more best of times under my belt, I'm realizing that that was one of the worst of times.
Well, you got to suck before you can get better.
Amen.
So.
Amen to that.
Yeah, you just have to trial and error.
So, Laurie, what brings this topic to the podcast today?
Well, I've had a lot of puppies reach out, puppy owners reach out, and I'm just booking a lot of classes. I have a lot of puppies. I have a lot of friends that have got puppies. And I just thought we needed to go over it again, just the basics, so somebody could look at a podcast and be like, oh, this one's about house training. Boom. Let me listen to this one. Take care of that. Okay, next. Let me prepare for the puppy coming to the house. Okay, boom. That's one episode. So first, getting ready for your puppy. 2, house training. 3, kind of getting your dog in the mood of listening to you, following you, real simple stuff. Nothing crazy, no advanced obedience, just getting the dog to care about where you are. I'm going to go kind of out of order though, because today I'm going to address house training right off the bat because I was talking to Kelly and she had some questions about crating and crate guilt. So I'm going to talk about house training today, which has a lot to do about crating, and I think it's going to get rid of her other issue she's having, which is destructive chewing in the house. So I thought, okay, let's bang that out, get some obedience, and then talk about structure and socialization in the fourth part.
Okay.
So, right, things you need, house training, basic obedience, and then socialization.
Yeah.
4 parts. And then it'll come in between Carol talking to us about her dog, her pit bull Maple, and then Claudia talking to us about her German Shepherd breeding. So I thought we could sprinkle it in there.
Yes. So these episodes in our puppy series are going to come in between in-person interviews that we have coming up, which I'm so excited about. Also, thank you for the wonderful reception to our last few interviews that we have done, both with Renee and with Lily. very fun time sitting down with them, talking to them individually and hearing about their experiences. That is what this is all about. So thank you for the positive feedback on those episodes. We have a few more in the pipeline, which I'm super psyched about. And also Renee is planning to come back because we probably could have talked for like 3 hours, you know, and from the feedback that I am getting, everybody loved it. Okay, so Lori, today you want to talk about house training.
Yep. All right. So usually when my customers come to me, I give them a house training sheet, and I'm basically going to go through what's listed on that sheet because I firmly believe that if you follow these rules, your dog will be house trained. Some dogs take longer than others. That's a whole other story. Dogs that soil in their crate, you can still apply these rules. You're just going to be constantly nervous that you need to let the dog out to go to the bathroom. Maybe why it fails and how having the crate creates a nice structure for the dog, because that, and all the good things that structure brings. Your dog doesn't form bad habits. They get used to being alone, maybe cut down on separation anxiety, builds motivation when they come out to do stuff with you because you're their only source of entertainment. The more that they're left to their own devices, the more they entertain themselves. That could be on your furniture. That could be barking out the window. That could be soliciting all the time, hitting your hand, hitting your arm, grabbing your pants, stealing items to say, hey, look at me, come and chase after me. This is my favorite game. I'll do it all day long. People realizing that they don't need to spend 5 to 6 hours a day just partying with the dog to get them tired, because it won't necessarily stop all those annoying behaviors that we don't want.
Amen.
Okay.
I'm going to have to clip that one for the Instagram.
So for house training, first thing, use a crate. Your dog should be crated at all times unless they are under your active supervision. And that means you are staring at the dog. You can't be on your phone. You can't be on your iPad or watching TV, because the second you turn away, that dog is going to squat, maybe if you're right at your feet, and pee. Some dogs do that. It's actually more insulting than if they were to walk away, because they're like, no, I totally had to go. You weren't watching me. So unless your eyeballs are on that dog, needs to be crated. No, your children will not watch the dog. They won't. You don't leave them with your kids and then expect that the dog's not going to have an accident. In some cases, you don't leave them with your husband.
Laurie.
Because he's not.
What if the husband's the one doing all the work?
I'll address that in a minute.
Okay.
So they don't want. And if you run to pee, they're going to pee too. I just went into the bathroom for 2 seconds to pee. You weren't in the bathroom for 2 seconds peeing. You were in there for longer. Time yourself. God forbid you bring your phone in there because you're looking at it. We all know the truth. And I'm a firm believer that all of my families, from all of these samples I've had over all the years, if the couple is, my cutoff is 38 and under, the husband, man, plays a role in training the dog. 38 and over, I'm looking at a lot of moms taking care of the dog in the house.
Oh boy.
I've
never thought about that before.
People might think that that's a controversial statement, but
whatever.
3 out of 10, like I'm seeing 3 out of 10 guys take an active part, and the ones that do are in that older crowd. They were dog guys when they were younger, and their dad had a dog, and they want to be, and they have that way about them. Mm-hmm. Or it's like that guy who's in his truck all day and he has his dog with him. Mm-hmm. It's like a very Norman Rockwell picture to me. So
yeah, and it just, if you're new, we're very much pet dog trainers, and the demographic of people that come to us for training are usually families. So I totally get that there are single people out there that have dogs and are in need of training, or have puppies are in need of training. And we do see single people as well. It's just that the majority of our clientele are families. So this is where these observations are coming from.
Single people are a slam dunk because they have their dog and that's it. Mm-hmm. So they're going to work with their dog and their attention isn't divided.
Right.
So they tend to be able to be more consistent because they don't have little minions running around the house kind of shooting down their work all the time.
Right.
You know, moms are super stressed. I mean, when I had another mom super stressed come to me the other day. She's the only one doing everything. The dog had giardia. She busted up her shoulder. The dog got neutered.
Yeah.
I mean, you see her 2 months later. She's frazzled and the dog is like, I'm not doing anything. I hate you.
Just talking to the microphone a little bit more. There you go.
Okay. So I think they could hear me though.
No, I totally can hear you.
I think it's loud.
I know, but I'm telling you.
Anyway, so then we have...
You just witnessed an argument, people.
Oh, God. Yeah, it got hot and heavy there for a second.
Here. Oh, controversial.
Anyway,
talking to the microphone.
So yeah, single people, they have that dog. That's their whole life. They love to do everything with the dog. They bring it on vacation. Not the same as families. And if you tend to have like same-sex couples, I'm not going to lie, both are pitching in. Whether it's...
I agree.
2 guys, 2 women, it's equal across the board no matter what age. It's just that one is better at training than the other.
One is a better natural handler than the other, which always happens.
Yeah.
No matter what, because if you take 2 people, one is going to be better at naturally handling the dog.
Yep. So use a crate and just know that there's one main handler in the house or a person that's home more often, and the responsibility is going to fall on you.
So we're also talking about puppies. So if you get a puppy at 7 or 8 weeks old and you are bringing this dog up to the point where they are housebroken. So this is a interesting question. At what age, Lori, do you find that most puppies will be able to enjoy some freedom in the house without worrying about soiling while you're not watching them? What age would that be?
It depends on how consistent they were.
Yes, and it depends on the dog. I think it depends on the breed. I think it depends on if it's a male or a female. But like ballpark, when do you stop having to have the leash on?
By 6 months, you shouldn't be a nervous wreck.
Okay, cool.
By 6 months, you shouldn't be torturing yourself, staring at this dog all the time.
Micromanaging, rather.
Right. And as far as puppies, or if you get a rescue dog that's not bathroom trained, you're going to follow the same rules. So whether it's a puppy or it's a dog who's not bathroom trained or a dog who occasionally soils in the house, you have to follow the same rules.
So just to back up, let's say you acquire a puppy at 2 months. I'm just trying to give people a time span because everybody wants to know, how long is this going to take? And if we say you need to keep eyes on this dog when they're outside of the crate, I think it's good to have some sort of a timeline expectation. So let's say you get a dog at 2 months old. Until 6 months, that there's 4 months in between that amount of time. You acquire the puppy until they're 6 months. You have to plan that for 4 months, you are going to have to be on. Period.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, that might seem like a long time, but if you think about it in terms of the whole life of your dog, hopefully your dog lives to 12. It's a relatively short amount of time. So if we're really able to hone in on these 4 months and be judicious about watching them when they're outside of the crate, running them in and out of the house so that they learn where to go to the bathroom, I'm telling you guys, it pays off dividends.
Yeah, you have to put the time in the beginning, and then you'll be able to breathe the sigh of relief later. But get all the grunt work done right away. Like I said, even if it's a rescue, you have an opportunity, or even if you're bringing the dog to your vacation home or trailer or whatever the hell, your camper, make sure that you keep the rules the same if your dog moves into a different environment. A lot of our families have summer homes or places on the Cape, or they go to the mother-in-laws or something like that.
Yep.
So just make sure if you go into that new environment, your puppy's behavior might, what's the word I'm looking for? Go back.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you establish the same rules. If you're there for 2 weeks, you might be on your toes for 4 days so that the dog realizes what the new situation is, where they go to the bathroom, where they have to stand at the door after a while. Because sometimes you'll see your puppy after a while run to the door it's used to leaving from to go to the bathroom. So you have to do this in new environments as well. If you're going to visit your mom, make sure that you have your eyes on your puppy. Have a crate in her house too, where you can keep them when you can't watch them. Okay. So next thing is follow a schedule. Give your dog a chance to have water whenever she eats, plays, enters or exits the crate. Set up regular times for feeding, water, elimination, crate rest, and play. So you want to make sure when the puppy is out of the crate, so I'm looking at this other thing too. When the puppy's out of the crate, supervise everything he's doing. Take him to the backyard to go to the bathroom. Stand in one spot. Don't, maybe say hurry up, which is our bathroom command. Stand in one spot wherever you want the dog to go and wait for it to happen. Do not stand out there for more than 5 to 10 minutes. Bring the dog back inside, put him in the crate. Here's the thing. If your dog doesn't go, he has to go back in the crate. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to have eagle eyes on that puppy.
Eagle eye.
Watching him inside the room because he may come back upstairs or go back into the house and urinate. So sometimes I'll say, hey, listen, you didn't go. Let me pop you back in the crate. In 5 minutes, he'll say, oh, shit, that was my only time to go to the bathroom. He'll start crying, run him outside and try again. So
can I say, tell a story about hurrying up? So I was at practice this past weekend and I had my little blind set up with Raven, and it was a long day, and I had given her water after our run, and she was inside her little blind, and she was really far away from all the other dogs because she's in heat. So I was talking to one of the guys, and I realized she hadn't gone to the bathroom in a while. So I said, Raven, come. So she came out of the blind, and I brought her over. There was like this little gravelly area, and I said, hurry up. And she peed. And then I go, okay, kennel up. And she goes in the kennel. And the guy looks at me and he's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I knew she had to go to the bathroom. And he's like, but she peed when you said hurry up. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, that's the whole point.
Because when you say the word, and it's good to have the dog, in this case, Raven was loose, but it's good to have a dog get used to going to the bathroom on leash, because if you travel with the dog a lot, you can just pop out of your car at a rest stop. They're used to going to the bathroom. A lot of times somebody will say, oh my God, I had to find a field somewhere so my dog could run free so it could go to the bathroom. Oh, bite me. If I'm on a time limit and I have to get to where I need to go, what do? You go in, you get a drink, you X your dog, maybe you go to the bathroom, get back in the car and start rolling. Or if you're in a new place or downtown, or you're going to, like Leah and I will go to P-Town, we just bring the dog to a designated spot, go hurry up, go check it out, and then we just keep walking. Of course, your dog will have freedom in other places. I'm just talking about a quick stop.
Totally.
So good job, Raven. Supervise everything he's doing. Take him to the backyard to go to the bathrooms. Do some kind of socializing or preventative styled exercise. Play a game with him. Feed him. Allow him supervised freedom. So that's kind of the schedule of the puppy when he comes out. That might lead to a 40-minute stint. Usually when I take a puppy out of the crate, especially our own that we're raising, we just... or, Winnie lately, when I was taking care of her and she was staying, she was a little Lagoto. She would come out. I'd bring her to the bathroom spot. She would go to the bathroom. That won her freedom inside. We come inside. We do some training, some sits, some downs. Or maybe I'll just let her chase me around the yard, do recalls that way. Just have her chase me and I give her snacks. I let her get her sniff on. As long as she's not, digging or tearing up the lawn, I just let her enjoy nature and, suck in all the smells. Maybe I bring her inside. She chews a bone. Go back outside. Go to the bathroom in the crate. And I just do that on repeat. So if you're working from home, make sure that you schedule your dog's crate breaks, which is all those wonderful things that he gets to experience with you. And he's not just, and if he's sleeping, can I keep him out if he's sleeping? 1 out of 10 times. Otherwise, put him in the crate and let him rest there. I don't care anymore if the dog's crate is inside the parents' room when you're sleeping. But during the day, I do like to have some separation. Like if the person has an office, I kind of like the crate sometimes to be outside the office door or whatever it is. I just want the dog to be in the crate and see some action going on, but still stay quiet and calm in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next is, when do you put the dog inside the crate again? The pup goes in the crate when you're sleeping. It goes in the crate when you need a break. Goes in the crate when the dog needs a break, which puppies need tons of breaks.
They need a lot of sleep as well.
And if you're filling their brain, they're going to need an even bigger rest time. Then they'll be so excited to come out and work with you again, rather than saying, listen, I have to go chew the furniture leg. I have my favorite chair leg I like to chew. Or worse is, you try to engage the dog in play and they just walk away from you, which is definitely...
That's a kiss of death.
It's like the number
Hearing
one
that
sign.
out loud, I'm like, ugh.
I know. It just means that the dog is kind of done with you. You kind of lost your novelty, versus when you see the person, it's just such a good time, right? Think about the friend that you see that you always have a good time with. Think about even something as, like getting a mani-pedi. You're never sad to see those people because you don't get it every day.
Yeah.
But when you see them, always awesome. Oh, I saw Lori. You should see this chick. She's got cookies. She's got toys. She's amazing.
When you train them to love you, like in the beginning, especially if you get an adult dog, it's like when they come out of the crate, you're the entertainment, you're the resources, you have all the stuff. And that's how we train dogs to enjoy hanging out with us. Like it really works, you guys. It's not just us blowing smoke up your butt. If you are exciting to your dog, they're going to want to hang out with you. And what I find is that people do what you were describing a little earlier, Laurie, where they spend so much time outside the crate in an effort to tire their puppy out, that a lot of that time then becomes pretty unproductive. And I think it's great, and we'll talk about socialization later, to do those types of activities. But if you're just hanging out in your yard, the dog becomes disinterested in playing ball, is starting to eat grass or dig up the yard, and they're not going to the bathroom, the tank's empty, and they're tired, so they're disinterested in food. Just put them back inside the crate. Like there's no... That's not like neglectful or anything like that. It's focusing on the quality of time over the quantity of time that they're outside the crate. And good dog trainers manage the hell out of their puppies. If you see a well-behaved adult dog that's with a dog trainer and they're doing really cool stuff, the chances are that puppy was managed very strictly when they were a puppy. And it's not mean or anything like that. It's just having rules and following through with them and then reaping the benefits when the dog is an adult. You want to read more off the paper?
No, and then like with Buddha, if I took him out to work with him.
And he was a freaking nightmare, you guys. I was looking at pictures. Oh,
and he didn't have a lot of freedom, but if I took him out and I started to train, even as a 7-week-old puppy, he would just walk away. And all I would see is this fat bear ass walking away from me. And he was just this fuzzy, independent guy just walking away from me. I said, oh, okay. And I would just bring him right to his crate and lock him up and say, okay, maybe later. Maybe you'll be interested later. And for dogs who have had a little bit more freedom, you might have to do that. You might take him out to train him, use his food for training so he has food drive. But you might have to say, wow, this dog's really ignoring me. I'm going to have to teach him the new way. Let me pop him in the crate. We'll try again later. You shouldn't be a slave to your dog. So the other thing was, I already said it. Use one area for elimination if you care where he goes. If you see him start to do is like sniffing and twirling, so you can say the command, hurry up. I say hurry up because go potty kills me. I cannot say that in public. Go potty. Go pee pee. I can't. If the dog is pooping, I'll say go poop. And then honestly, you can get a dog to go poop on command. Because we'll be outside ready to go in the ring. I'm like, go poop. Because you just don't want to worry that your dog's going to eliminate in the ring.
during toss and fetch. I'm just like, I know it's going to happen to me. Like, it's going to happen sometime, but it's like, it always crosses my mind if Ruben doesn't poop right before we start playing. I'm like, oh God, I really hope he doesn't poop on the field.
Because they have. We've seen people's dogs just...
Oh my God, all the time.
I saw a dog do it during a BH.
Oh.
So embarrassing.
That's really embarrassing.
And then it's even sadder with Frisbee, though, because they'll catch the Frisbee, so they're holding it while they awkwardly poop
in front of
everybody. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. And then that stupid ass buzzer is like, what does it say at the end?
5,
4, 3. And your dog's like, hold on, I'm almost done. And you're like, come here, Mitzi. Come here. Let me get the Frisbee. So I can... You just feel like a tool. Anyway, I digress. It's fine. So... use your toilet commands. Mine's hurry up, and I do tell the dog go poop. And usually, if they go on command, clean up after your dog, you nasty people. Unless you're in the middle of the woods somewhere, but really pick up after your dog. Or maybe they'll start eating it, which is just a side bonus that some dogs give us.
Yeah.
Plus parasites, you got to keep it clean. Don't punish for accidents in the house. Remember, like,
wait a minute. You don't mean you don't want to rub your dog's nose in their pee?
No,
that's like an old school thing.
That's wicked old school in the newspaper.
Yeah,
don't do that, because it'll make the dog weary to go in front of you, or you'll have a dog that hides to urinate, and then you'll find it behind the chair, or your guests will. It's very charming. Punishing will teach your dog that it's safe to go when you're not around and dangerous to go when you are around. If you catch your dog in the act, you can say no loudly. I do. No. And then take the dog outside to finish going to the bathroom. So say your no, walk the dog out, especially if you caught them midstream.
Not Lori. She picks him right up. And
I do. I pick him up like a football.
It's pretty incredible, actually. You'll see her. No! Picks the dog up, run outside, and put him on the ground. They finish. Whew. 2
seconds flat. I am over there, and I am watching them.
Yeah.
And then bring them right outside, hurry up, go to the bathroom, and then I crate them. I don't let the dog continue to walk around the house after it's urinated. So some people will be like, yeah, I cleaned it right up. I go, and then what did the dog do? I just let him walk around. The behavior was Peter pooped in my house, and the consequence is a loss of freedom. Your dog will not hate the crate if you give it a timeout.
Amen.
It will hate the crate if you grab him by the collar like some psychotic son of a bitch and throw him in.
Yeah. Because you're mad.
Don't do that, guys.
You just get mad.
Listen, you did this. In the crate you go. If the dog finished the job, leash him up, put him in the crate. And, calm down, because you're not going to be happy with your dog once they do that.
Yeah, or happy with yourself. So don't get mad. Learn from it. Don't let it happen again. And hopefully if it does happen again, it happens in the future in a different circumstance. So you have another opportunity to learn. That's what we're all about.
No, learn.
Learning.
Mistakes will happen.
Yep. Okay, I have a question for you, Lori.
We said already.
How do we feel about the bell at the door for puppies?
I don't like it.
Why?
Because a lot of the dogs, I feel like, specifically, I feel like Australian Shepherds, Golden Retrievers, they just hit the bell to go out and party.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't do the bell. I normally, if you do everything that I'm saying today, the dog starts to walk to the door. And they'll sit there and look at you. Some dogs do bark. If the bell works for you, great.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just don't like the concept of the bell. I don't like the idea that the puppy is just wandering around.
Ding,
and
ding.
You're doing something else and you're like, oh, that's the bell. I need to go let the dog out. Like if it's a puppy, like it's 8 to 16 weeks old, you really need to be watching the dog when they're inside your home. Because nobody lives in a sterile environment. We have socks on the floor. We have laundry. If you have kids, they have their crap everywhere. You might have crown molding inside your house. If you have a stool at the island in your kitchen, those pegs that hit the ground are like pacifiers for puppies. I go into so many people's homes and those stools are chewed to shreds around the bottom. Yeah. It's like all of this stuff is for the taking with your puppy. And it's like, the goal is not just to housebreak the dog. The goal is to make sure that other behaviors aren't cropping up. And if you're not watching the dog, there's no way for you to say they definitely weren't chewing on something. Like They very well could be. And the amount of puppies that eat stuff and then get blockages and then have to have a surgery because of it, or they give their owners a blooming heart attack and their owners are sifting through their poop for the next week hoping the thing comes out. It's just not worth it. So I don't like the idea of a bell because it means that your dog is around the house and you're working on your computer, on your phone, cooking dinner, not paying attention. And it's crucial to micromanage the puppy when they're a puppy. Like, you have to do it. It's not optional. You're not being mean, but you're preventing these bad behaviors from forming. And by bad behaviors, I mean sticking foreign objects in their mouth and swallowing them. And it happens all the time. And here's the thing, guys, nobody talks about it. No owner is going to say, yeah, we had a puppy, but, you know, we weren't watching him and he ate a sock and yeah, that was that, right? Nobody's going to tell you that. Nobody's going to even probably tell you if like they have to go to the vet and they have a surgery or they had to induce vomiting. It's traumatic. You know what I mean? Like,
it's really terrible.
It's a horrible thing. So do your best to avoid it. And, you know, and nobody's immune from it, right? Like, that stuff could still happen to us. You know, I remember Raven, like when she was maybe 16 weeks, I saw like the top of a sock coming out of her mouth. And I was like, no, because I had her, you know, loose and I was watching her, but there was just stuff around. I don't know what the case was. And she had just put it and I was able to get it out. And I was like, okay, this dog cannot be trusted around socks. And she wasn't a puppy. She was probably like 5 months old because I told her to out and she outed. And I know that I didn't really teach her that when she was super young. But in my mind, I was like, okay, she has a potential to eat a sock. So I can't trust her. And to this day, I still don't like leave laundry around while she's around because I don't want to take that chance.
Yeah, like with Rhonda.
Oh my God.
So everyone, oh, Lori, your place is so clean. It's so clean because then I have a better chance at management, right? I have nothing on the floor. And downstairs where we have dogs is rubber flooring and my counters are clear. We never have stuff on the counters. Nothing that would want to make the dog, nothing that would entice the dog to want to jump up, right? Because now I have to worry about counter jumping too. I have to keep my eyes on the dog, blah, blah, blah. Floor is clean, just like it always is. Nothing on the floor that a dog can get. If there's anything, there's a hard bone that the dog will never be able to swallow because I get the largest sizes possible so that they're not a choking hazard. I look at her and she has that look, you know, that look that we all know when we look at our dog.
I got something.
The mouth is closed and they're kind of like, she's kind of skiddly daddling away. And I ran over. I was by the sink. I mean, she was 3 feet away from me. She had a battery in her mouth. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to keep you alive if this is what you're doing? I remember that morning I had to replace the batteries in something. I took them out of the pack and put them in a bag so that they were all organized and put away safely. Nope, one fell. I didn't catch it. And little Rhonda's walking around with the battery. I don't know if I told you this story either.
Yeah, I knew this.
She scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's scary.
So even with somebody who watches all
even
the
us
time,
psychos still have a few stories here and there from over the years of puppies grabbing onto something. So, and we keep everything so sterile. Everybody says it. Oh my God. It's like when we prepare food for ourselves, the dishes are all done immediately. When we're preparing the food, we go from start to finish with the food. We don't leave it on the counter and then walk away, go do something else, come back to it. It's like if I have something on the counter, like I make bread a lot, we have a crate with like a cover on the top. I take it and I put it at the very back of the top of the crate so the dog's like there's no physical way that they could even jump up and get that.
Yeah, it's way too high up.
Like we do everything so sterile. And I know that not everybody can live like that. And really, Lori taught me to be that way. But I've realized how effective it is when you have dogs around because it just keeps them from, there's no reason to go on our counters.
Because you have so much shit going on anyway. And so if I can keep the place clean, then I know that there's one less thing I'll have to worry about.
Yep.
I remember one family, their dog had swallowed I pulled a hockey sock out of the dog. He was going to the bathroom. I pulled a hockey sock out and the woman was there, thank God. So she saw what was happening And we won't go into whether it was a wise idea that I pulled the entire sock out, but when the dog is running around and half of a sock is sticking out of its ass, you have to do something. So I slowly pulled it out, which is what they advise. Imagine if I brought the dog in the vet. I'm like, what's going on? Look at his ass. Okay. So that mom, I think she threatened all of the children's lives in the house, and everyone had closed bins that would snap shut.
Well, she was traumatized by seeing that.
Right.
So that was helpful.
That was helpful. Now, nothing like a good trauma to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, totally. Change that behavior.
Yep. All right. So we have using a crate, following the schedule.
How about water cutoff?
Let the dog out. Mistakes will happen. You can say no in the moment. Water cutoff. I usually cut off water at 8 p.m. I usually do 8 p.m. and I don't give the dog a full bowl of water to just swim around in.
Yeah, they just wet the whistle at 8.
Yeah, a little
just
sip.
A little whisper.
You could literally measure it. Yeah. Measure the water, but do not fill up your 4-quart bowl full of water and watch your little water drunk.
In it.
Yeah, your puppy's going to drink the whole damn thing. And if you're lucky, they bonus you with just puking it out on the floor of just pure water and slime. So cut the water off. And dogs who are super hard to bathroom train or soil in their crate, I get the smallest stainless steel dog bowl ever, and I fill the very small stainless steel bowl with water. Maybe it's a cup worth, and I let them drink. But if they're soiling in their crate and they can't even last an hour in their crate, you will see me monitor.
Yeah, measure.
Yeah, measure their water.
Measure and time it out.
Yep.
It's a tough. There are dogs that are specifically difficult to bathroom train. And I also just wanted to say, as another general disclaimer, anything you hear on the podcast should definitely supplement in-person training if you're new and you've never had a puppy before. If you've never owned a puppy before, definitely give us a call, do some private lessons with us. You can even do Zoom lessons if you're far away. We will happily schedule with you. We don't do a ton of those, but it is possible for you to get some one-on-one time, because it is vital to be able to ask questions and to get some feedback from somebody who's raised hundreds of puppies. And Laurie is somebody who, me too at this point. Let's be fair. I know exactly what I'm doing. And there are going to be dogs that are admittedly difficult to bathroom train. My little Raven, she soiled in her crate, and it was very difficult. And it went away by the time she was 4 months old. She was much more reliable. But from the moment that I brought her home, she felt completely comfortable peeing inside of her crate. She would pee in there, then she would get upset about it, but she would still pee in there. And it's hard. It's really difficult when your dog does that. And that's a whole other issue. And I really would encourage you to speak one-on-one with somebody. I don't really want to go too far into that.
Yeah, because there's a whole, if anyone wants to have a whole podcast on what to do if your dog is soiling in the crate or the dog seems absolutely impossible to bathroom train, it really is. You really
got to do a lesson. Let's do a Zoomie if you're struggling with that, because I'm just thinking about Winnie the Lagota. It's so much one-on-one and back and forth with her owner to try to work through some of those issues, and it thankfully the dog's on a schedule now, and I feel like she's doing so much better. But it's been a long road, and it's not an easy thing. And if you are having trouble bathroom training, sometimes you have to look at it as you're not going to be perfect, but if your accidents inside are happening less frequently, you're doing a good job.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I thought literally, I saw Ruben peed inside the house one time. And I just saw Laurie scoop him up, bring him outside, and he never did again. And I was like, oh, he was just perfect. But he was a little bit older when we got him. And then I got Raven, and we had a lot of bathroom accidents with her, comparatively.
It was always in the crate.
And I was just like, why? Was this so hard? it's frustrating, but every dog is different. So it depends on, the temperament of your dog, how old we got Raven when she was a little too young. But Reuben was like 13, 14 weeks. So he slept through the night in his crate. We never had to get up. If you have a little 8-week-old puppy, you're going to be getting up during the night. When they cry, you have to believe them. They probably need to go outside. If they go outside and they don't pee, you got to bring them back in. And then when they cry again, bring them back out. And we see a lot of issues when people bring their dogs out at night, give them an opportunity to pee. If the dog doesn't pee, they go back inside the house and they hang out in the recliner watching TV with their dog, right? Yeah. Saying, oh, well, they didn't pee, so I knew she would have to go pee, so I just hung out with her. And then, I brought her out 30 minutes later and she peed and I put her back in the crate. Don't do that. Put the dog back inside the crate. They need to learn that bathroom time is for going to the bathroom. Like, you should not be waking up with your dog and having cuddle time with them at 2 a.m. unless you want to keep doing that for the next 2 months. You got to put yourself in the mental space where, you bring them out to their bathroom spot at 2 a.m. They pee. They come back inside the crate and you all go to bed. You don't need to read them a bedtime story or sing them a lullaby, okay? Just put them back in the crate and go to bed, right? Because eventually, what do you want your night to look like? You want your night to look like you're sleeping 8 hours through the night, and your puppy will do that. And they'll do it faster than you would think. But if you're not really regimented in those first 4 weeks, you're going to be singing bedtime stories and watching Netflix with your puppy at 3 a.m. and nobody wants to do that. So try to get into the habit, if you've got a really little puppy, of getting them outside, pee real quick, go back in the crate. Make sure they pee and poop before bed, so at least tank's empty. We haven't owned a dog that needed to take a poop in the middle of the night because we really make sure that happens in the day. But yeah, 8-week-old puppies, you got to wake up at the night. They can't hold it the whole night.
Yeah. And never wake a sleeping puppy. So some parents will say, oh, I wake them up at midnight to go to the bathroom. And I said, don't do that. Just let the dog sleep through. So you'll probably get a dog, if he's not waking up at midnight, they'll wake up at 2 a.m. And as far as food, a lot of the times if I have dogs with bathroom issues, I try to make their last meal at 5 o'clock. Sometimes that doesn't happen. You have a puppy, you end up doing some training. 5 o'clock is not the end of the night. I'm literally in bed by 9:30. So just know what your bedtime habits are. If you're a person that goes to bed at 10:30, you're probably not going to have to wake up till 5.
Yep.
So with Buddha, I was only able to train him after my day was over. And sometimes my classes wouldn't get over till 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. And he was certainly hungry, and he was certainly in his crate for a while because I had to crate him while I was training other people's dogs. That would be his time to train. And I knew the food was going into him late. And so I just gauged it. But I knew, sure enough, in the morning, I knew he would poop. Sometimes you'll get one at night, but just go to the same spot all the time. So never wake a sleeping puppy. What are the other things that some parents do that will, don't put a lot of bedding inside the crate. Make sure that the dog has a chance to go to the bathroom as soon as he exits the crate and right before he goes in, so that if he starts to cry, you don't ask yourself, does he have to go to the bathroom? Mm. And if the dog sometimes it's a little Russian roulette. Sometimes you won't know. The dog will cry and you'll think this dog doesn't have to go to the bathroom. Lo and behold, I go in to check my dog sliding around in a pool of urine. So you'll get to learn your dog. Oh, this kid, Raven, I was letting her out every half hour. I was so worried that she was going to go no matter what amount of water I gave her. Yeah. Rippo was the same way. The dog was a genius obedience-wise, and she was having accidents in her crate. I definitely was measuring her water. Yeah. And I did not put any towels in there.
That's another thing too. Dogs. Is if you have a dog that eats bedding, I know that it can feel really wrong to put your puppy inside the crate with nothing in there. Right? So they're this little puppy, and I would say this is a huge generalization too, but it happens more with the kind of traditional dog breeds. So, labs, shepherds, golden retrievers, dogs that might have a little bit of working dog juice. If you notice that they are eating their bedding, just put them inside the crate without anything in there. And I'm telling you from experience, that's how I raised Raven. And to this day, I have a Primo pad inside of her crate, and that's it. And when I go to, gun dog trainings and whatever, very few people have bedding and towels and stuff inside the crate, and the dogs are absolutely fine. And they're house dogs just as much as they're working dogs. They enjoy people and freedom and all that other stuff, but not all dogs can handle bedding inside a crate. If your dog can't, don't feel bad about it. And you can look into a product called a Primo pad, which is a completely sealed foam pad inside heavy duty plastic. And unless your dog is a real piranha, they can have a little bit of a softer bed if you want to get a custom made Primo pad. But don't feel bad if your dog eats bedding. My dog does it. Many people's dogs do it. And I know it feels weird to stick your dog inside a naked crate, but it's a safety thing because
I hate doing it.
They're going to eat the bedding. And that's no good.
I love a dog. I love to tuck a dog in at night in bedding and know that they're so comfortable. You should see me with Ruben. I'm a moron. He has a big puffy bed. I tuck him in every night with his blanket. I love to know that my dog is comfortable, but my sanity is gone. I cannot leave a dog if I think that they're going to chew bedding. I get so worried. I have a naked dog in the crate, so we have no collar. We have no bedding if the dog showed me that they were eating the bedding. If I want to trial it, I make sure that I'm home, and after 5 minutes, I just peek over and see if the dog was chewing up that mat or blanket or whatever. I do the same thing with a Primo pad. We have a lot of dogs. So the Primo pad is pretty decent. Has a 30-day warranty too. I know this because Buddha ate his Primo pad on the 31st fucking day, and I didn't get my refund. And I don't recommend getting this. They have straps that you can strap down to the crate. I don't recommend the straps because that's where he infiltrated the plastic.
The lining.
Yeah. So I just get the regular Primo pad, no straps, just strap down to the crate. And now he has a Primo pad. And around, 11 months,
now he's fine.
He wasn't chewing anything. I will remove a tag from a blanket, and I only leave a Nylabone DuraChew. Those are the ones I like. I like Benabones for your dog to chew. Antlers, I give them outside the crate just in case. And we're not going to go through
we don't need
or
to
teeth
do any
or whatever.
of that. We're sticking to house training,
But
which I feel like we've covered most everything.
We have, but I just want to make sure because Kelly had mentioned destructive chewing, so I want to give her some options. So antlers, DuraChew, Nylabones, Benabones, and I never give any chew bones that are circular in shape where the dog, anything that I look at and I think the dog could get his jaw caught in it. So they have one toy that's like 2 triangles. The points meet the 2 triangular holes. I think the dog can get their jaw caught. Yeah. So not that one. Just get the regular bone-shaped ones. So that's that. The other thing is the supervision is going to help with the destructive chewing of items in the home. The dog being on a leash at all times in the house. I just wanted to knock this out for Kelly because I know she's going to listen to this podcast. And now that she's creating the schedule and she's engaging the dog with training, she's going to see the dog get less bored and go after the hands.
Totally.
If the dog is overstimulated and tired, they will start to nip and act like assholes.
Totally.
Or just act like a dog. They'll start winging around the place, losing focus, starting to jump, walk away. You want to know when to end the session. Oh, he gets to be a real tool after 10 minutes.
And so you got to end it at 9.
Yep.
End it before they get to practice that behavior that you really don't like. So important.
Yep. And never play with your hands with a puppy. Always have a nice, soft, long toy. Marshall's is my go-to place. They have really nice toys that last a while. Those stuffed toys, I just throw them in the washing machine to clean them up. Make sure they're long and soft and wiggle them on the ground so it draws the attention towards that toy. And that play session might be 5 or 10 minutes. Again, gauge your dog. I know that Buddha doesn't like repetition. We would have 10 to 15 minutes of training even today if we're going over a new exercise. I'm lucky if I can get 3 good reps out of him. I know that the 4th one is going to be shit. And the 3rd one might be shit too. You'll rarely see me go past 2 times training a new behavior with Buddha because he just loses interest or he starts to fool around.
Yeah.
and not, like I can see his focus dwindle. So make sure you use a soft toy. Don't wrestle with your hands. And don't pacify the dog's mouth like some people will be holding the puppy and then they just put your hands in his mouth without even thinking about it. Don't do that. And have the toy before the dog starts nipping and mouthing or whatever. But keeping him engaged is really, in keeping those sessions to what your dog has shown you his attention span is, it'll lessen the opportunities, and him not being loose in the house if you're sitting at your desk working, him coming up and biting you to get your attention, and then worse, him getting attention.
Yep.
So that's it. That's house training.
Yeah, that's what's up. And I want to end, I had a client consult a few weeks ago. I'm remembering it in my mind. And the owner, some doodle mix. And I'm very honest with people who come to us for puppy training with doodle mixes from a breeder that their friend got a dog from, which is a very easygoing dog. And I usually tell people, I'm like, listen, you're going to do the classes with us. You're going to learn how to manage the behavior so nothing bad happens to this dog by the time they turn 1. I said, and then you're going to have a good dog. Like, it's going to be fine. I think it's great when people call us and we do puppy classes just to kind of get owners through that difficult time and be able to support them and give them these rules and things like that. And so this fella said, I'm able to have the breeder keep the dog until they're 12 weeks old. And I said, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, it's costing me just as much as it does for the dog in order to have them keep the dog and do that little board and train until they're 12 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, yeah, that's probably a reason